What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be doing an update video on my house renovations. If you're new here, I know this normally isn't the type of video that I put out, but I bought my first house back in March of 2020, and I've been kind of like doing video updates about my house renovations because I've been renovating the whole thing with my dad, and I just want to like log the progress for myself and just kind of show people what it takes to like redo a house and about how much it might cost if anyone's curious in their future. So today we're going to be talking about my kitchen renovations. I first started with my garage. I did a video on that. I've done some videos here and there about like some walls I've taken out in the living room. But now I'm going to be talking about the kitchen renovation that I just finished. I think it's been like a year since I put out one of these videos, over a year. So it's been a long time in the process. I've also started on a shed in my living room. So like these things take a really long time because I always start other projects before finishing one. But anyway, I'm glad to just be here and be able to finally say that I finished my kitchen. And just remember that me and my dad are just doing it by ourselves, no contract work. My dad's awesome. He knows how to do everything. He's helping me out. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you, Dad, if you're watching my video. And we can't forget my mom coming in clutch with all the snacks that she brings over. So when I first moved in this house, this kitchen was really closed off. It was kind of separated into two sections that had like the main kitchen with the countertops and all that, and then it also had like a dining room area, and there was this big archway in there, right, that kind of separated them with just like a little doorway. Felt really congested. So the first thing I did was rip out that center wall. So this was pretty simple, you know, just ripped out the drywall and the studs, and it just opened the room right up. Now this caused a problem on the floor. Down at the bottom, they laid the tile after those walls were put in, so they cut around all of the walls, which left me with a problem because I had honestly had no idea how to like match the tile color and everything, because there was like probably about 6 or 8 tiles that I really needed to replace. So it was going to be pretty noticeable if I accidentally got something wrong, but luckily I found one box of tiles in the garage from when I moved in. So my dad was able to just take out the tile that was cut and then switch them out with the new tiles, and he just used leftover grout that he had laying around at the house. So luckily that did not cost me anything. Now this didn't end up totally perfect because the way they cut stuff out and the fact that the tile was underneath the cabinets and all this other stuff, there was a little bit of like makeshift, you know, make it work kind of stuff where there was some little tiny pieces that aren't fully squares, but we made it work. I got a runner that I can run across my kitchen sink so no one will ever know the difference. The next thing I was going to tackle was there were 2 walls that had paneling on it, and I just wanted to make it all drywall, make it all the whole kitchen look uniform. So I ripped all that paneling off, and there was this one place on one of the walls. If you were there for my house tour video, there was this paper plate just like in the wall. So I ended up taking that out. We don't know for sure what it was, whether it was like an old furnace type thing. We don't really know. But anyways, we ended up patching that up. And then I took all the trim on the bottom and top off so we can make everything look uniform, because now that the wall isn't there, the trim wouldn't match because I couldn't find the same stuff, whatever, you know, so I took all of that off. Next, we inserted an outlet on one of the walls, replaced some really old janky boxes, and then I added a double switch to the entrance because there was no switch for like the light above my table. You had to like pull the strings in order to turn it on. So we ended up putting a double switch right on the wall so I could flip on the main light or the dining room light. So this is where I had to start spending money. I had to do a couple things here. I had to buy all the boxes, covers, outlets, receps, you know, like all that kind of stuff for electrical. And then I also had to buy wire, which wire is expensive because I had to run wire from the main light over to that new light so that it could have its own power switch. So overall, the electrical came to about $68, and that pretty much took care of all of the background electrical stuff. So after we got the outlets all set, we drywalled the thing, but the drywall was not expensive. It was only $18. Just a couple sheets did the whole thing. So after that, I had to do the mudding and sanding, which is just lovely. I love doing drywall work. That's sarcasm, by the way. So I had to do the normal like drywall work, and then I also had to patch like the ceiling where the wall was. I took out some phone jacks that were in the kitchen because nobody uses landlines anymore. So all the little miscellaneous things for this, like the sandpaper, the drywall screws, the outside corners, the drill bit that I had to buy, like those kind of little things, and also including like paint rollers and brushes, which I'll get to the paint in a minute, but I'm going to include that in this little miscellaneous category. That comes to about $57. And then after that, I just had to do, you know, the priming and painting and all of that over everything. I did ceiling and walls. So the mud, the paint, and the primer, I'm just kind of including that in the thing. And that was $107 total. So that actually cost more than I thought. Paint's actually pretty expensive. And I have a crap ton of it left over because you realize that you have to get this like whole gallon because it's the best deal, but then like you barely use any of it. So then you choose this random obscure color like I did, and then I'm like, what am I gonna do with the rest of this like almost gallon of paint, because I don't really want to paint a room this color. But anyway, yeah, I chose a bluish color. It's actually turned out green. I didn't do a good job. It's not the color that I wanted, but I already bought it and I wasn't gonna pay for a sample because those were like 18 bucks or something. I was like, heck no. So I just got it and went with it. It was very like greenish. I mean, I like the way it looks. It's just not what I planned on. So I used that as an accent for my cabinets. I didn't paint my cabinets. I left them the way they were. They're kind of this off-white. And then I used the complementary color of the green on the other walls. And I don't really care for that color. It's kind of a tan. I don't know. It just kind of looks meh. So another thing I worked on was the fuse box panel. The other people painted over it and it looked really nasty. So I like had to sand it down and I painted it back to gray, and eventually I might like hang a picture over it or something, but it just looks a little bit better now. So with the wall down, I was able to move this really tall standing cabinet that was on one side of my kitchen over to the other side next to all my cabinets that were already there, and it opened the place up even more. Now after I got this moved, everything was pretty much done, you know, all the painting, the floor was done. So basically I just needed to trim the whole thing, the tops and bottoms. So I just took in a sample of the old trim to match the paint of the cabinets, and I just painted the trim the color of the cabinets, and then we just trimmed the tops and bottoms of the whole room. Now this was the most expensive part. The trim was $171. I didn't even choose like the wood. It was like kind of a composite mixture, I don't know, kind of bendy plastic. I don't know, it was like something. So that wasn't even like the highest grade thing I could buy. So, and it was still really expensive. Now next comes the lights that I put in. I kept the main light the same. Over the sink, I did end up putting in a different light. It was just a globe light before. I put in this bar with 3 different lights, kind of like a spotlight thing. I don't know, it's kind of cool. So the one over my table, someone actually gave me one of their lights that they're not using. So that was free, thankfully. But the one light that I did put over the sink did cost me money, and that was about $50. So next were the blinds. I just had some plain white blinds in there before, and I always have my blinds down, so I kind of wanted something like nicer to look at. And honestly, I guess because I was just redoing it, I wanted to get new blinds. And let me tell you, blinds are freaking expensive. I did not realize this. So anyway, I got the blinds that just don't have cords and you just like push them up and down or whatever. So that actually ended up being $129. So not my smartest purchase. Don't know if I think it was good, kind of regret it, but it's already done. So next I replaced this nasty door that was connected to my like laundry room. It was just this brown door before, just real cheap. It was like breaking, it didn't close half the time. So I ended up getting a bifold door, painting it, putting it up. That was $88. But it looks so much nicer, and my cats have a lot harder time opening it, which is nice. So with that is pretty much everything I did to the kitchen. Adding up all of those totals there, it comes to a total of $688. So once you add tax and everything, it comes to $736 to renovate my kitchen. But once you factor in the fact that I went to Menards, I got an 11% rebate on everything that I bought because they had it like the entire year. So if you factor all of that in, it was actually only $655. And with that, this is what $655 can do to your kitchen. Also, once again, remember, me and my dad did everything ourselves, so if you have someone else do it, it's gonna be a lot more expensive. Also, my dad has like every tool imaginable, other than getting like a small little drill bit and like just like the random things, like I said, like sandpaper and all that. I didn't have to buy like any tools to do anything. So that's also another thing to consider. As you can tell, it opened it up a lot. It kind of like modernized it with like the paint style and the accent wall and all that. I don't know, I really like it. It's not totally done, I guess, if you will. There's still some things that might need to be done in the future. Maybe in the really late future, I might want to change my countertops. I'm not a huge fan of the color they are, but that's like the least of my worries. I also kind of want to get a little island, like a rolling island to put in there because I don't have very much counter space. But those are all things for the future, not important right now. So yeah, let me know what you think of my kitchen. I've already started on the shed. I'm actually almost done with this shed. So hopefully this summer I can have another video for you guys, show you that progress. My living room's like completely torn apart. I have like no floor. Look forward to more of these videos in the future, and I will see you next time.